Hi everyone, my name is Megan Mucci, and this is my presentation on the very interesting Antwerp diamond heist. This heist took place in Antwerp, Belgium in February 2003, and it was dubbed the heist of the century, as you can imagine, because more than $100 million worth of diamonds, gold, and jewelry were stolen undetected. On the Diamond District's main street, billions of dollars of diamonds and jewels were traded, sold, and bought every day. The ringleader of this crime, Leonardo Nardobartolo, rented an office on this road and began finding meetings with dealers. He received the offer for this heist and knew that he had to find the intricate details of the inside of the Diamond District. To do this, he used a camera pen, which he placed in his shirt pocket to get inside video and pictures of the district. Once he made his way into the vault to have access to his own private jewel box, he had realized that this was going to be one of the most intricate targets he'd ever seen. This vault was believed to be one of the most secure places in the world. The door to this vault contained a combination dial between 0 and 99, a keyed lock, a seismic sensor which was built in, a locked steel grate, a magnetic sensor, and an external security camera. Onto the vault that contained a keypad for disarming sensors, light sensor, internal security camera, and a heat motion sensor. Leonardo believed this heist to be impossible, and he declined the dealer's offer. Five months after declining the jewel dealer's offer, he requested to meet Leonardo outside of Antwerp. The dealer created an exact replica of the Diamond Center's vault and enlisted a team of Italian thieves to help them complete the heist. Here's the team and their roles. First and foremost, Leonardo Nardobartolo, the ringleader. Second, the genius, who was specialized in alarm systems. The monster, they called him this because he was a monster at everything. He was an expert lock picker and an electrician. Next was the King of Keys, who was the best key forger in the world. And Speedy was in charge of communication with Nardobartolo from inside, and he was also family friends with him. Nardobartolo had one more thing he needed to do before the heist could take place. He had to render the motion sensor inside of the vault useless. Interestingly, he did this by spraying hairspray over the sensor. By doing this, however, the hairspray needed to last long enough for the monster to enter the vault without triggering any heat sensors, therefore ruining the plan. On the night of the heist, Notarbartolo drove his rented car with his team in it to a secluded building where they would enter through the Diamond Center through a private garden that was not always under direct surveillance. The genius had to disable alarms to allow them into the building, and then they made their way downstairs to the vault. He had to reposition the door's magnetic field away from the vault so that they could enter. Interestingly, the thieves needed a foot-long key that was supposedly unreplicable to open the vault door, and the King of Keys had noticed something out of the ordinary. The foot-long key necessary to open the door was hanging in the room. So they used this key instead of the key that they made so that no police would know. Each member of the team wore gloves so their fingerprints would not be left behind anywhere in the vault. The genius had plugged in the combination from the video they had gained from the camera pen. The key was turned and the vault was now open. Speedy was in charge of updating Notarbartolo, who was waiting down the road, and told him they were inside the vault. Inside of the vault, the team broke open 109 boxes through the night until 5:30 a.m. when it was too late for them to continue. They hauled their bags of valuables up and out of the vault to the building where they had been dropped off. They loaded up the car and went to Leonardo's apartment, where, to their surprise, most of their cases were empty. The thieves thought they would be collecting around $100 million, but ended up with $20 million, give or take.
Yeah, so let that rock, and then you can import the video.
So it'll be in my drive?
It'll be on your computer. Yeah.
On Monday, February 17th, 2003, the
and you
Antwerp
upload
Diamond
it.
Police walked into a vault that was 2 floors
And you don't have to
underground
talk
Heist
over it, so
district and
you're pretty good
discovered
for me.
that
Thank you.
thieves had broken into a vault that had 10 layers of security.
I wouldn't stop
and they had
recording this button.
systematically disabled each
And click
one
the red.
and made
On the
off
top.
with an
Yeah.
estimated 100 million euros
Sounds
worth
good.
of diamonds.
What? Yeah, and it's recording right now, the YouTube video, so in 5 minutes when it's done, I
To
just have
me,
to upload it
what's
and then I'm
so
good.
amazing about this story is that these thieves were the cream of the crop. They were from Italy, they were extremely accomplished, they were at the top of their game. And yet, as they drove out of town, they pulled off the road and threw a bag of garbage out the window into a forested area beside the freeway. They didn't burn it, it was just scattered in the underbrush, and they left. And it just so happened that this little piece of forest was owned by a retired grocer who had made it his life work in retirement to try to prevent littering and improve nature. And for him, the garbage was just a huge insult to everything he was trying to do with his retirement. And so he would regularly call the cops when he would find garbage on his land and say, oh, there's some beer bottles, or there's this, or there's that. And the police were like, yes, thank you, Mr. Van Kamp. But this time, this Monday morning, Mr. Van Kamp found this garbage, and it was unusual garbage. It wasn't, the typical beer bottles and wine bottles, though those things were there, but there were also diamonds in the mud. And within an hour, the area was swarmed with cops. The alleged mastermind of the operation was a man named Leonardo Notarbartolo, who his specialty was charm. Leonardo Notarbartolo says he's always been He was born to be a thief. His first robbery, he was 6 years old. I started following this story 6 years ago in 2003. I was in Antwerp at the time, reporting another story about diamonds. And it was while I was there that I heard about this heist. I was there maybe 2 or 3 months after it had occurred. And I thought, wow, that's an amazing story, and I would love to know what really happened. And so I got in touch with Notarbartolo, first with his lawyer in Belgium, and then I also started sending him letters in prison. And one day, I received a phone call at home here in California, and it was Leonardo Notarbartolo calling me after 6 years. There were 4 people who were arrested, charged, and convicted with the crime. According to Notarbartolo, there were 5 people. He refuses to say who these people were, but he uses their nicknames. There was the man he refers to as the genius, a guy who could disable any surveillance system, any kind of alarm. This guy was your man. There was a man named the Monster, who was monstrously talented. He was basically an all-around Olympian of thieves. The third guy was a man named the King of Keys. Self-explanatory. And the fourth man on the team, not counting Notarbartolo, was known as Speedy. And Speedy was an old friend of Notarbartolo's. They'd grown up together, and the others on the team didn't want him. He started to have anxiety problems. But Notarbartolo thought that this was the job of a lifetime, and if they were going to make the biggest score of their life, he couldn't really say to his oldest and closest friend, no, you're not in on this. Unfortunately, it was Speedy who had a panic attack as they were driving out of Antwerp after the heist, and it was his insistence that they pull off the road and immediately get rid of the garbage. That explains why the garbage ended up on Van Kamp's land. It was never Notarbartolo's intention to do that. It was a mistake. It was a reaction to his friend's meltdown. Notarbartolo always planned to drive the garbage to France and burn it in an abandoned warehouse. If he had done that, it's possible that the heist would never have been solved.
The first theory I chose to use that demonstrated this crime was the excitement of crime theory. This means that the excitement drives the initial spate of offending, but skill and financial reward quickly take over, resulting in habitual offending. Notarbartolo discovered his passion for stealing at the young age of 6. His mother sent him out to get milk, and he noticed that the milkman was sleeping, so he went through his belongings and he returned home with $8. Later, he stole money from his teachers in elementary school, and then into his teen years, he picked locks and stole cars. In his 20s, he began taking things seriously and studying people from jewelers to businessmen to really learn the game, thus leading him on the path of crime the rest of his life. Another theory demonstrated with this crime is the rational choice theory. People freely choose their behavior and are motivated by the avoidance of pain and the pursuit of pleasure. Like Nardobartolo, his team for the heist participated willingly with the hope of it being successful and making off with millions. Criminals like these, especially thieves, love the thrill and take the chance of either getting caught or becoming very wealthy. The last theory I chose to use is personality theory. Personality traits are persisting underlying tendencies to act in certain ways in particular situations. Leonardo Nardobartolo's specialty was always charm and acting. He always dressed well, and he made sure to set up meetings with small dealers to befriend them and earn their trust. He was invited to their showings and invited into their vaults because he was very trusted, and by the next week, he would have their entire stock cleared out. This is one of the most interesting heists or crimes that I've had the pleasure of researching, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation and found it just as interesting as I did. Thank you.